What's up guys, it's Devin and today I'm going to be doing my summer foundation routine. I know it's pretty late in the summer, however, we do still have quite a few more weeks / months of hot weather, so I figured I'd go ahead and film today the foundation routine I've been doing for the past few weeks. I just kind of wanted to go into detail about the products I was using, any new products or any new techniques I was implementing, stuff like that. Quick note, I did film this last week, however I didn't really like the way my foundation ended up looking on camera, which I think is pretty important for a foundation routine. So I'm refilming it today. Just gonna fling that back there and we gonna get started. So the primer I've been using is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer, the hydrating version, the hydrating primer. I really like this primer because I do have pretty dry skin. I do get oily in certain areas, so my skin is pretty combo. The dryness is more of an issue than the oiliness is. So I really like the way this primer makes my skin feel. I feel like it preps it really well and allows the foundation, concealer, and other products to kind of stick to my skin a little bit better. Also, I'm getting over a cold, so if I sound kind of funny, that's why. The foundation I've been using for a while now is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. I am the shade 117 or Y225, and so I have one full pump on my finger right now, and I'm just going to lay that on my cheeks, spread it out, and then I'm going to take like another half of a pump, and I'm going to concentrate that on the center of my face, so around my mouth and my nose. And I'm going to blend that out with my damp sponge. This is a Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. It's their version of the Beauty Blender, and I really like the finish that this gives to my skin. I feel like it does absorb a bit of the product, which kind of allows me to not look as cakey. I really like this foundation because it has a natural, slightly dewy finish, which I am a huge advocate of matte foundation, but of course I just set it with a powder, which I will do later, and that kind of takes care of that, not issue, but concern for me. It has a really good coverage, and this is a good color match for my skin, which is kind of hard to find because I'm pretty fair. My skin isn't pink at all. My undertone isn't pink, so sometimes it's harder to find a paler foundation that isn't really pink. I'm just going to take another half of a pump and just do a second layer on any areas where there's a fair amount of discoloration still peeking through. This is a summer foundation routine, however I do still like a really full coverage look. I just have found a way to achieve the look I want without as much stuff, which is my point in making this. Yay, foundation is done. Now for concealer, I'm using two different concealers today. The first one I'm going to be using is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is in Light 1 Chantilly, and this is a highlighting concealer for my skin tone. And the only places I'm going to put this are on this inner corner and right under my eye. This is where my dark circles are the worst and where I find I actually need some help highlighting. And I'm going to, of course, blend that out with the sponge as well. I'm not a huge concealer highlighter, but I do like highlighting this under eye area and right in this corner. I find it really lightens up this area in a way that my concealer that actually matches my skin tone can't do. And then to conceal the rest of my face, I'm using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Light 2 Vanilla. So this is the shade that actually matches my skin. So I'm gonna go right up on the sides of my nose because I do still have some redness, and then just right in the center cheek area. And then a little bit around my mouth as well because I still have some greenish discoloration. These NARS concealers are super high coverage, yet they somehow still manage to look like skin, and they end up looking pretty natural, which is, you know, I use that term pretty loosely. They just have a really beautiful finish. And again, it is a little bit more of a natural finish, so it does have a slight sheen to it. So the face powder I've been using is the RCMA No Color Powder. It's a translucent powder, and it's in this giant bottle, so I'm going to tap some of it onto, this is my e.l.f. contouring palette. Just any flat surface I have laying around, I lay it onto. And again, I am going to use the sponge because I feel like it packs the powder into my skin and really sets it in place. So I just have some on here. It looks really scary, but like I said, it is translucent, so you can put as much of this on your face and it's not gonna make you look super creepy. So I'm just gonna start patting this into my skin. And I feel like this powder really sets my makeup in place. It does not move after I put this stuff on there. Like, it just doesn't. And I like to keep applying until my skin feels really silky smooth because, like I said, this foundation does have a slight tack to it because it is a more dewy finish. I've said that like 45 times. So I like to set it until everything feels nice and smooth and like I can actually touch it. You know, I want to feel like I can touch my face. So there you can see this side of my face is powdered and this side has not yet been powdered. So if this kind of dewy finish is your style, just don't powder it, but I'm definitely a matte girl, so. So for the past few months, I found that I really like applying my blush first and then I do highlight and my contour last. I feel like this helps me to not apply too much contour and to give a more subtle or natural look for the contour anyway. I apply a lot of blush, so that's not super subtle or natural, but you know what I mean. I feel like contour is the thing that looks the most artificial on most faces, so, you know, I'm trying to do my best to make it not look so like stark. The blush I'm going to be using is the City Color Be Matte Blush in Papaya. This is one of my favorite blushes. It's just a nice neutral peach. So I have a really large blush brush here, and I'm just going to start applying that to the apples of the cheeks and brushing backwards. I want more of these matte blushes. I just haven't bought any, you know, because I find that they last really well and they have a good amount of pigmentation. And I think they're like $4 or $5, which is a really good price. So if you're into that kind of thing, pick these up. Today I'm going to be using two different highlighters. I'm going to be using my BECCA Moonstone Shimmering Skin Perfector, and I'm also going to be using one of the ones out of the Anastasia Moonchild palette. This is a highlighting palette full of iridescent colors. It's really cool, really unique, not for the faint of heart. They get a little freaky, let's just put it out there. But I do want to use one of these as well, but I'm not sure which one because they kind of have this bronzy eye going on, so I don't know, we'll see. But I'm gonna apply a tiny bit of Moonstone. Ooh, I said a tiny bit and then I put a ton on my brush. A little bit of Moonstone on the cheeks just to kind of act as a base. Of course, this is my summer foundation routine, but I switch up the highlight and the blush color a lot. And then I'm going to use, ooh, that got a little chunky. I'm gonna use Moonstone to highlight my nose as well, so I do the tip of the nose and then a little bit along the bridge. And then my Cupid's bow as well. And then when you're highlighting your nose, you're gonna wanna blend inward, not outward, because outward is going to make your nose look wider. Of course, if you have a really narrow nose and you'd like to make your nose look wider, do that, but most people don't want to make their nose look wider. I don't know what color I wanna use. I think since my eyes are so warm, I'm just gonna use Pink Heart, which is just a white with a pink shift. It's the one in this bottom corner right here. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but you'll see when I put it on my face. Just using that fan brush again, I'm just gonna pop that right over where I just applied Moonstone. Yeah! And of course it is summer, so feel free to put all the highlight on your face that you want. And to finish up the face, of course, I'm going to contour. So this is the e.l.f. contouring palette, and I'm going to be using this cool brown. And I love this palette, but these powders are very powdery. Powders are very fine, but they do kick up a lot of product. So if you're using this, you have to be very, very careful to not use too much because you can use too much way too quickly. So I'm just going to pat the brush in it and then kick off any of the extra that can come off. And this is just kind of a round tapered face brush. And I'm going to tuck that right under the blush. Then the very last thing I'm gonna do is contour my nose. I'm gonna take that same powder, kick it off a ton again, and then this is a BH Cosmetics 122. I believe this is from their first Sculpt and Shape face brush set. I like to do the bottom first. The biggest reason why I like to contour my nose is to just kind of bring a little bit more shape in the center of my face to kind of match the like parameters of my face. And then I'm going to take some of the powder and I'm going to tuck it right above my nostril. That looks really scary right now. And then I'm going to blend that out. And then of course going to actually thin out the bridge of my nose. So I'm going to take that powder and just drag it upwards. So I just hopped off camera, finished up my eyes, and put on some lipstick. This is the NYX Liquid Suede Lipstick in Sandstorm, in case you're wondering. So that is all for my summer foundation routine. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something interesting or something new, or at the very least, just enjoyed watching it. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please feel free to leave them down below. I am always reading all of the comments, so start a conversation. I'll be there chatting with you. If you like this video, then please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my other upcoming videos. And that is basically all I have to say, so thank you for watching and I will see you next time.